So here we are on the Reddit page where I submitted Space Aces, and here's all the links, the 4 trailers I made for it. Uh, and I just got this. I guess this shows how long it takes me to make a video if you read this and see when this actually comes out. But yeah, I finally got contacted by Oscar, also known as Polex, from the Mojang content team, or Mojang if you're posh. And this is pretty exciting because I've been waiting for 2 whole months. You can see 2 months ago here, and this is 6 hours ago. So it looks like they wanted to check and make sure that they made sure that gun-like weapons were okay, pretty much. And I'm very glad he didn't just say sure and then have the chance of it being not good later, which I think would be pretty disheartening. But yeah, so he likes the map a lot, and we see a bunch of these. So these are the things that we can do to fix the map. So let's read through a couple of these. So the lobby has 3 different signs you can press on to join each game mode, and it's a little confusing. Okay, I do get that because a lot of the maps on Realms are super simple to understand. Whoops. And I'm glad that he brought this to my attention. There's a lot of things as a developer that you don't even realize. So we've got this, and then along with that, I feel like this is saying very similar thing, but not exactly. So I think he's basically saying make it so that only one game mode can be joined at once, and make it so that, yeah, there's no indication of how the game will proceed. You're kind of just standing in the lobby until 2 players join. So an action bar, just throw an action bar, is all I need to do here. The training section, so a lot of the problems that he found with my map is definitely my fault and easy to fix. So like a bit light on information, all I have to do is give a lot more tell like tooltip items. Like he says for here, like absorb. He thinks you have to constantly hold down the right mouse button, but actually all you have to do is hold the item. I thought I wrote what you're supposed to do with the item, but I might have not for some of these items, which is not exactly good. Anyways, so a lot of this, yeah, just being able to send information to the player and them to easily decipher what it means. Yes, not super obvious when they're activated, so make them super obvious. So again, make it super easy to pick up what you're supposed to be doing. You can jump right in with it, never playing the game. This one I'm gonna have to talk to my fellow creators about, because the hunger was a big system that I implemented to reduce spam and kind of almost use as a, not currency, but strategic option to either use something a bunch all at once or to save it for a bit and then use it sparingly. So basically endurance versus, I don't know, super fast paced something. But there's no reference to it anywhere in the game, and I kind of totally overlooked a lot of that because I didn't want people to be worrying about little numbers. But with the hunger system, or I called it the energy system, I'm almost tempted to completely remove it, or at the very least, he talks about his saturation went down too quickly, and so there's no way to get food. So we could make it so that the health packs restore a little bit of hunger, even though that it slowly regenerates anyways. So he says, what do the power-ups that are scattered around the map do? There's only health packs, but I have to explain that they're health packs. Hitbox is pretty big. Now this one, it's mostly a problem that came from inheriting the 1.12 system to 1.13. Previously, there was no good way to implement a raycast system, so I just used snowballs. Now it's super easy. You can make them very precise, and I'm just trying to work on a project with square hitboxes, but because of a bug, I mentioned this to Pollux here, or Oscar, because they're of a bug, I'm going to wait to update this until that bug is fixed, and it will be very, very precise raycasting and hit detection. So this one is one of the only ones I think I'm putting off completely. Yeah, so I feel like I didn't even read this one before. This one, the freeze so that there's kind of a penalty for respawning isn't very well communicated. So a lot of my problems are just lack of communication. The grappling gun, I need to just completely replace it, get rid of it, because it just doesn't work. It works, okay, it works pretty well, but it doesn't feel as well as I want it to. Now I think I'm going to just make it easy to understand and then completely get rid of it in the next update. Yeah, I'm not too sure. And then the different colored fonts, that's just a single word change. That wouldn't be too bad to fix. So I'm glad he responded, and I'm pretty well, I guess pretty excited because of all of this, him responding. And then the information here, the improvements, I think they all make sense and they're all very practical. So we're going to go into how I would start fixing these. And the first thing I would do would actually be opening this up. So here we've got this to-do list, and this is a bit of a spoiler, but you've got the name of the current project, the deadline, the progress, and then we've got all of these. I would consider all of these problems here bugs, so I think I'm going to just go ahead and list them all out in the bugs category. So here we go. We've got a bunch of different of the basically the suggestions he made, and I condensed them into one line. So for all the bugs, you can read through them, and then now I'm going to minimize out of that, and here we go in the Brick Mason's big folder, and I'm going to go into dynamic files. So this it's kind of a spoiler, I guess, but I'm going to drag this to do here, and the dynamic files folder, whichever one is found, is going to be, whichever one's called to do is the one that's going to be loaded. So if we go to the Discord bot and run it, this is basically a mini server that I use for the Brick Masons Discord. So here we go. If I go into Brick Masons and in bot commands, let's run a clear Let's see if I can run it twice, actually. There we go. So with this, that to-do list that I created here, if I do to-do list, it spits out all of the things that we need to work on. So it tells you the current project, the deadline. I'm giving myself a very short deadline on this, but I want to get it done as quickly as possible. Progress, and all of the bugs. So if we go into to-do command, not command, to-do add bug, I think, is it bugs? To-do add bugs. So this is saying, like, add something to the bugs list, and then let's say, I'll just say test. So then it should add test to the bottom of this. And you can see it right there. And to get rid of it, you do to-do remove bugs test. Right now I've got a bug in the thing, but whatever. I need to fix that. So if I do to-do list again, we have a progress, so 9%, and the test is crossed out. So it doesn't actually remove it, it just crosses it out. So we're going to use this. This is what I use for all of the fellow brick masons, and the ideal with this was to streamline collaboration, the collaboration process. So let's get started on fixing some of this stuff. So we've got our work cut out for us. It's a bunch of things to do. None of them are too terribly hard to fix, but I think that it will take a long time to get them all finished. So I believe the first thing that would be pretty easy to do would be to fix the colors of text. So here is a pretty good example. It's kind of hard to read. So I think what we're going to do is switch this out. Ooh, lag. I always leave all of the command blocks in their respective area so that it's super easy to find. There we go. So let's see. So you can use the fancy custom names now, which is cool. But let's just go with blue, normal blue. And there we go. Now it's a little hard to read, but I think it's because of the backing. But the thing is that what's his name? That's not Pollux or Oscar from Realm said that using a bunch of different colored fonts isn't really advisable. So I'm thinking we do lime green for this actually instead, and that would be really easy to read. Yeah. And I think I'm going to just do that for all of these. You will lose the the color coordination, but I don't think it's that important, really. So after this, what else do we have? Yeah, okay. So that's pretty easy to read. Nothing too much to do with that. This, I think, is perfectly fine. But the other things... So this isn't too hard to read, I don't think. Although that dark gray isn't too great, really. So we've got this dark gray. I don't think it's too hard to read. And I don't think it's that bad. The only time it's hard to read, I guess, is if it's... No, it's not that bad, really. So I think I can leave this. He said... Okay, for some reason... Okay, so that needs to be fixed. That's the arsenal. I don't think that's much of a problem. So again, I'll just go through all of these different things and fix them. If I look at over here at the sniper, that is really... it's black. Using black text is usually pretty frowned upon. All of these other ones are pretty easy to read. I think the black text is the only one that I need to change. I'll just change it to dark gray. And yeah, that's pretty hard to read, really. I'll fix that. I think we're good jumping in there. I mean, not having to jump in there. That you can read perfectly fine. And then all of the classes have items that might be hard to read. But I think we're going to do that after I fix everything. The main, just armor stands and tell raw. So I'm going to do that real quick and I'll be right back. So I got that fixed. It was basically just these two commands. I think this should be fine, these two. But if I get a complaint, I'll easily fix it. I mean, that's like two words I can change. I think it because it's short, you can be able to read it. And most people don't actually know that you can hover over it. So the next part, which is going to be not too hard, but just tedious, is going to be going through, going through all of these and making sure that these tell you how to activate them. So I think I'm going to change the actual name of the item. Instead of just being boost, it's going to say boost and then in brackets drop. I wish I could map the keys. So like read the key from the person and then implement it here. I might ask around about that. I feel like it might now be possible, but if not, then I'm not going to bother too much with it. But along with that, just like saying right click and Q to reload for this, it adds a lot to how to play. Okay, so I'm going to do that for all of the classes, which is going to take a bit of time, but it's not going to be too bad. So let's skip some time. Okay, so I think I've got it fixed. Let's do a reload on the texture pack to see where we've messed up at. Now I wonder if, because the name's changed, if it'll show it up here. No, it doesn't. Okay. Oh yeah, I like that. So it tells you what to do with each one. So right click, I set this to 1, right click, Q, 3, should be hold right click. Now, I wonder if people will think that you just hold it. I'll see if that's confusing. So right click here, forgot the line there, so I'll have to fix that. Q, hold, right click. I can just use a find and replace for that at least. Okay, so I've got all of that done. This is what it looks like for all of the classes basically. let's change something. So this is one thing I was kind of worried about. Let's change drop to U. Thing is, oh, actually I should probably grab a class that uses drop. Yeah, so it updates dynamically. So I've figured out how to make it update dynamically. Better change this back before I forget. So that's a really cool feature that I, with a lot of help, it took me a while to figure that out. Shout out to the Planet Minecraft chat, and specifically, I believe, who was it? Maxixic? I don't know. And Blazing Cave. So that means one thing. So here we go. %, done. Nice. Okay, so I finished the next thing already, and it's the training missions. You can probably definitely see it. It's not too distracting, really. I thought it'd be pretty bad. But I guess I should go into game mode adventure for this. So it basically gives you guidelines for each mission. Why'd I choose the scout one? And that one more thing would be getting rid of this. So let's to do bugs. Nope. Remove bugs, and I'll just paste it. And then I also did both of these. I fixed them. So I can mark them off. And we can look at the updated, oh, too fast. I implemented this because every time somebody reads this, it's actually writing to my file, like my computer, which is kind of annoying. Okay, so we just have a few things left, and most of them are not that hard to fix. So like action bar, that's just one command, and I know exactly how to do that too. That's super easy. The hardest ones would probably be these two. I'm saving those for last. So yeah, I've just got this, and then these two. Now the grappling gun, Pollock said that it wasn't necessarily working, but I think it just isn't obvious how it works. So I'll have to make it more obvious. Maybe the lore would describe how it works. So one of the problems he found was that there's no indication on what's going on here. Like in this lobby. When there's 2 players, then it starts the countdown. So when there's only 1 player, there's nothing that is displayed. So we need to give some information to the player saying, hey, we need another player in order to start the game. And it's really easy to implement. So I'm going to do that real quick, and I'll be back. And just like that, we've got it done. So that was, took me less than 5 minutes. It was really quick. I just have to copy and paste the command to the other 2 game modes, and then we could knock this off the list as well. And here we are. To do, remove bugs and that. Oh, come on. 63%. Wow. Okay, so here we are in the respawn area for setback. So every time you die, you respawn on this pressure plate, which runs these commands. It's not a good system, but I don't want to run constant commands just to do something super simple like this. But he was confused. He thought that the slowness that you get when you respawn was unintentional, and it's actually a way to prevent from picking a super fast class and then respawning and getting to the point. It's supposed to be like a minor disadvantage to respawning. So what I did was I just added this command, and I'm just going to do AS. That other chunk that I just removed is the same selection that the slowness and blindness select. So this is what it's going to look like. Now if I do subtitle and then I do title, how does that look? Okay. The problem with this is that it's going to keep the subtitle from before. So I'm going to have to reset the player's subtitle, which means I have to move this command actually to, let's move it up here. And, oh, perfect. So all we have to do here is change this from title to subtitle, and then I think we can remove all of this. Just double quotes like that. And okay, if that's 4 blocks, it would go 1, 2, 3, 4 inside of there. So I think I'm going to increase the radius to 5 and 6. 5 here and 6 up here. So I copied this command, and let's move it over here. Should be the subtitle one. Nice. And all we have to do is change blue to red. And let's go ahead and change the radius on this to 6. Okay. So I believe this will work. I don't think I need to check it really, but we'll see. So this is a few days later, and I've already resubmitted everything to Realms. I'm just going to go over the quick changes. Over here, the how to play section has been simplified. We've got a description of the 2 health packs, and these give energy now. And I guess that's wrong, but don't tell anybody. Now this is the actual version. I'm playing on a realm. This is the actual version that will be published if they think everything is okay. So training missions. So they haven't changed at all. But the biggest change really is just this like sub lobby. I guess it is a sub lobby because it's below the previous lobby. But basically it just gives you the option to change the game mode so that only one person can play. And if somebody has if somebody's in a lobby, which means they have the tag of, I guess it'd be ready, then nobody else can change the game mode. Only one person can play. So that's basically it. As far as just in news goes, ooh, that was close. I've been invited to the uh, chatting service that they use, and that's been pretty cool. And they've also invited me to the way that you can submit your maps a lot easier. And both of these things are pretty cool. And it's when you go back and look at how they did it with Reddit, it's kind of hard. It's really hard to submit your first map, but after that, it's a lot easier. So I'm just going to be making changes. If this is released, I will inform you guys. So whatever the next clip is, I'm not exactly sure. We'll see. I'm hoping the game is released, but they'll still think, I'm assuming that they'll find a few more problems with it because I guess they're just really good at finding problems with things. So I'll stay tuned, I should say. If you stay tuned, then you will know what's going on. So I ran through a few more versions where I uploaded it. Oscar tested it. Then I uploaded it. He tested it. He found more issues, you know. I'll just go over a few of the things I changed. So the join game is changed like this. The lobby for... Oh, that's not the one I meant to go to. The lobby for setback doesn't have these class signs because you select them when you first spawn in, so it doesn't matter. Let's see. The training has changed a lot. All of them are a lot easier. Let's look at a pretty good example of that. Rocketeers is one that changed a lot. There's a bunch of little texts to help. And make it a little bit easier to understand. So that's the majority of the things I changed. I think I did a couple things in the credits. I changed these signs. Oh. Okay, that's weird. Hopefully that is the items are there. There's a bug, I think, with that. There's supposed to be a small and large health pack here, but they're just not there. And it's got the version. So, I guess the next clip will be me playing or showing off Space Aces within the game. Hopefully. Might have one more round, but he's okayed the latest version, so that's pretty good. Here we are on one of my realms, and I think it'd be pretty interesting if we press this button. And what do you know? We did it. We're already second place to Crafty Monkeys. How low on the list this is doesn't matter. But what does matter is whenever you update the map, it brings it back to the top. So, yeah, this is pretty exciting. We finally did it. So I guess this is the end of the series. I might make a Project Realms 2. It's unlikely that it'll be as structured or formal. But I am excited with this. That doesn't mean Space Aces is done with development. I will still continue to add stuff to it, as long as there's interest. If nobody plays it, then I don't really want to add too much to something that's pretty much dead. But I'm thinking about doing something special for the release. Still not entirely sure, but just keep your eyes peeled. But anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with me to the end of the development. I appreciate everybody who's been interested in the project. And as always, thanks for watching.